December 16, 1944 marks what is considered as the last major counteroffensive of the German army on the Western Front during World War II. The surprise attack was launched through the dense and thick forest of the Ardennes in Belgium, Luxembourg, and the northeast part of France. The offensive was intended to stop Allied forces from using the Belgian port of Antwerp and to split the Allied lines, allowing the Germans to encircle and neutralize several Allied armies. The 101st Airborne Division and the city of Bastogne have become iconic symbols for this major battle. However, many other units, such as the 28th Infantry Division, were involved and played a key role during this bloody and long fight known as the Battle of the Bulge. With battlefield tour guide Bob Konings and filmmaker Joey Van Messen, we decided to travel to the eastern part of Bastogne and take several then and now comparison photographs where the 28th Infantry Division saw intense combat and made their stand against the German forces. In this sector, full of steep hills and thick forest, the plan of the German army was to capture and secure the strategic city of Bastogne in order to continue their progress toward Antwerp. The men of the 28th Infantry Division, outnumbered in terms of men and tanks, somehow managed to slow down the advance of the German army. Thanks to their heroism and tenacity, they were able to keep the city of Bastogne in American hands until the 101st Airborne Division arrived to defend the city. This would be where the men of the 28th Division were given the chilling orders: hold your position at all costs. On our first stop, we decided to visit the town of Hosingen in the sector of the 110th Infantry Regiment, where men of K Company, with the support of other American units, offered a strong resistance against the German army and slowed their progress significantly as they advanced toward Bastogne. Hosingen is located just a few miles from Clairvaux and is part of what is known as the Skyline Drive. This nickname was given by US troops during World War II for the road leading from Dirkirch in the northern direction toward the Belgian border near Weissenbach. This road gave access to key towns in the direction of Bastogne and Senvis in Belgium. The 28th Infantry Division had the important task of holding this line of defense. Unfortunately for them, the ground they were defending was too wide and spread out. The 112th Infantry Regiment protected 5 miles of the northern section, the 109 covered 9 miles on the southern end, and the 110 Infantry Regiment was responsible for the 10.5 mile section in the middle. Still recovering and rebuilding from their previous action, in which they took high casualties in Normandy and in the Yorkton Forest, the 110 Infantry Regiment only had enough men to defend 5 towns along the key roads that led to Bastogne. On December 16, 1944, the Germans launched a strong counterattack to capture the strategic city and crossroad of Hosingen in order to be able to continue their progress west. The lookouts from K Company were posted in a water tower in Hosingen, and as they kept watch, they were shocked to see an entire company of German troops in an open field to their front trying to force their way into the town. The lookouts were able to alert their fellow GIs in order for them to defend their positions around Hosingen. The Americans quickly took action and soon were firing 30 caliber machine guns, Browning automatic rifle, and M1 rifles toward the advancing enemy. The firing lasted only a few minutes before the Germans were forced to retreat back to the shelter of the woods. The next 2 days, the heroes of Hosingen would hold the town at all costs, repulsing several German counterattacks and inflicting hundreds of casualties to the enemy troops. However, outnumbered in men and equipment, the city of Hosingen eventually became surrounded by the Germans and finally collapsed on December 18, 1944. An American veteran by the name of Leonard Baker recalled,
"In 2.5 days, the Nazis pushed the American troops back into the center of town. Americans called for more ammunition and water, but it never came."
Barker was badly wounded there, receiving several pieces of shrapnel in his left side near the church of Hosingen.
"They captured us, and I was afraid they were going to machine gun us all."
Fortunately, they did not. For him and all the American soldiers who bravely fought in Hosingen, the war was over. They would be sent to POW camps in Germany until the end of the war. We don't have any pictures of the city during the battle, but we were able to locate on the website Heroes of Hosingen quite a few photographs that were taken after the battle. Our second destination was just outside of Marnage. Several German tanks and anti-tank guns were knocked out while trying to progress west, and we decided to go there to take several then and now pictures. While we were on our way to Marnage, I realized that the 110 Infantry Regiment's only option was to hold a series of isolated strong points, blocking roads for any enemy advance, and Marnage was one of them. The men of B Company of the 110 Infantry Regiment received the order to defend the position and would soon receive another order: hold at all cost and give up no ground.
So here we are, we're between Monarch and Dasburg, and we located the spot where one German tank was actually knocked out just on the side of the road. And it's what can help us to identify this picture, and the location is the house in the back. On that picture you can really see that the roof is gone. There even like an anti-tank gun in the front. So probably a lot of fights took place here. We know that there's another tank that was knocked out in the field on the left. But this picture, I would say Joey was taken just a little bit in the back. Probably somewhere here. The tank is right there, it's just in front of us, right there. And on the right, which is kind of interesting, you can see that an anti-tank gun right there that has been knocked out as well. It's just, you know, right there on the right, next to the house. And here we are, we see the house just behind. The same trees, same forest. I mean, nothing has really changed here. It's amazing. The trees you see, I would presume, you know, they're very tiny on that picture. Probably the same that you see here in front of us. That the same trees, same house, same road, everything it's the same.
We are not 100% sure of the unit that knocked them out, but we know that the 630th Tank Destroyer Battalion and the 707 Tank Battalion were sent by Colonel Fuller at the head of the regiment in support of the men of the 110 Infantry Regiment that was struggling to hold the position. B Company of the 110 Infantry Regiment did not have the proper weapons to face such a counterattack from the German army, as Sergeant Maurice Petit recalled.
With the exception of a few bazookas, the Americans had nothing with which to fight tanks.
The tanks were rapidly approaching Sergeant Maurice Petit foxhole just east of town. He felt helpless, knowing that he could not stop them.
We did not have a single tank in support. I decided the best thing to do was to get my men out of the woods north of Monarch. Only 4 of my 11 made it out of Monarch. I hope that we've done what they wanted us to do in World War II. I'd hate for my children to have to go through what I've seen over there.
Sergeant Petit made it all the way to Clairvaux, but was later captured. The 112th and the 109 Infantry Regiment were already retreating, and both flanks of the 110 Infantry Regiment were wide open. Being outnumbered, there was no other choice for the 110 but to retreat against such a numerically superior force. Sergeant Maurice Petit and many other American soldiers were now withdrawing towards Clairvaux. We then decided to go in their footsteps, and we left Marnage to go to Clairvaux. Going down the road to the city, we decided to stop to take a couple of comparison photographs.
As most of the units of the 28th Division, you know, the 707 Tank Battalion was wiped out here in Clairvaux and in the area. And which is interesting in the picture I've got, Joey, is that you can see actually a German tank knocked out with a Sherman tank just behind. And those 2 tanks were right there in the curve going down to Clairvaux. A lot of things have changed since, because actually the 2 houses were so damaged that they've been destroyed. They've been like, you know, they haven't been replaced. And I've got another picture right there that's the same, but on that picture, which is interesting, is that you can see some of the crosses, you know, of the cemetery. And I'm just wondering if by any chance some of those crosses are still there. Do you want to check that out?
Yeah.
All right. Bro, look, it's amazing. So You see that picture right there? You see the cross?
Yeah.
Look just behind me. Behind the phone. It's the same cross, and which is absolutely amazing. You see that there's an impact there, you know, on the cross?
Yeah.
Look there.
Wow.
Same cross. You see that?
Yep.
It's crazy. So that picture was taken right here. Boom. I'm gonna take a shot, okay? How we feel right now in Clairvaux? I feel trapped. I feel trapped because, you know, it's very dark, it's cold, and if I'm looking up all around, it's high ground. If you're here in December 1944 and German troops are actually starting to surrender Clairvaux, you're trapped. It's a trap. Look all around. It's true, right?
After we left the city of Clairvaux, our next destination was the city of Vils, Luxembourg. On December 18, 1944, what was left of the 110th Infantry Regiment was wiped out or withdrew to the west. Survivors in the north headed toward Donange to make a stand, while those in the south fell back toward Vils, where the division command post was located. The road in the center of the town of Vils was only about 12 miles from Bastogne. It would be natural, therefore, for the Germans from the Wilverwitz bridgehead to advance through the Vils Valley. Every tank and every man standing, including the 28th Infantry Division band, would fight to defend the city of Vils. The members of the band were not supposed to fight that December day of 1944. In fact, the musicians, although they were soldiers, weren't supposed to fight at all. But the band, made up of about 60 members, mostly from Pennsylvania, put down their instruments and picked up rifles. They did their best to defend the positions, but with the German strong attack, it was impossible for the men to hold the town. Several members of the band were killed and 35 others were either severely wounded or taken as prisoners of war. One of the band members, Sergeant Raymond Horn, was captured and endured difficult conditions in Stalag 4B. He wrote home to his family after being liberated on April 12, 1945.
I just went through the foremost miserable and toughest months of my life. But there isn't a German in this country that can keep me from coming home now. They're licked and they know it. I have so much to tell you, but I'd rather wait until I get home to do that. They tell me I'll get home soon.
Unfortunately, we don't have pictures of the city of Vils during this terrible battle, but we found several pictures of the city when the American troops were able to re-enter the town in January 1945.
It's super cool. I was wondering why it looks like the guy is a little bit like higher, you know, on the picture. And it's actually because the photographer was probably right here when he took the shot. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna go quickly there and do a then and now shot, okay? It's right there. You see? Wait, bro, before I die. It's crazy, like when you see the pictures, they were walking here with their backpack, rifle, and they're taking back the lands that we lost back in December 44. It's very moving to walk in their footsteps. Very, very interesting picture that was taken right here, and I'm glad we're here today to actually do a then and now shot, because a lot of things are still the same, including that wall. You can see the two walls in the picture, you see? They're very different type. It's like a, I don't know how you call that in English, but you see?
After we left Vils, we continued west towards the iconic city of Bastogne. There were many photographs of the 101 Airborne Division taken during the siege of Bastogne, but it's rare to find photos of the 28th Infantry Division. Fortunately, we were able to locate several pictures of survivors of the division who managed to retreat into the city. In one of these iconic pictures, we can see two exhausted soldiers of the 110 Infantry Regiment by the name of Adam H. Davis on the left and Milford A. Sellers on the right.
So that picture, we just introduced the two gentlemen on this picture. That picture was taken right here. You see? A lot of things have changed here, but you can see that they're like standing on the, on the wall.
A less known photograph was taken in the same area. You can easily recognize Adam Davis in the center of the picture and Milford Sellers on the left. We can see on the right of the picture a medic and what seems to be a survivor of an armored unit. When you look at this picture, you would think that the battle was over for the men of the 28th Infantry Division with the arrival of the 101 Airborne Division. But these two men would continue to fight, and the man on the left would later be captured by the German troops and spend the rest of the war in POW camps. Our final destination was just outside of Bastogne, in a small town by the name of Cibray, where a very famous picture was taken on December 20th, 1944. In this picture, you can see a group of men who were part of the security platoon from the team called Snafu, which was a makeshift unit composed mainly from survivors of different companies of the 28th Infantry Division and the 9th Armored Division.
And the picture was taken actually a little bit further, but we can recognize that there are the two buildings, like kind of a little bit angled facing the street. And I'm actually right there. You know what? I'm gonna walk in the footsteps of the captain. The captain was right here on this side of the road walking. So Captain Frank R. Kubik, when the picture was taken, was actually standing right here. It's crazy.
The 28th Infantry Division would later withdraw to Neufchâteau to regroup and reassemble after receiving such heavy losses, but it would take several weeks before they would be back to their full strength. As I visited these places where the men of the 28th Infantry Division and other allied units fought so fiercely, I was left amazed at their ability to hold on for so long and in such a difficult terrain. I'm extremely thankful to them and the part they played in the liberation of Europe. It can be easy to forget what happened here 76 years ago, but as I followed in their footsteps, I was reminded of the great sacrifice that were paid for our freedom. May we never forget them. If you're interested to learn more about the battle for Bastogne, you can check out this amazing then and now video released by Snafu Docs. The link is in the description below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoy learning about these places as much as I did. If so, please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content.